Okay, we are going to be reading from this magazine up front. If you flip it to its side, you will see that it says Volume 152, Issue number 10. And let's go now to page 8. 8 looks like this. It says When Teens Go Hungry. And I will be reading this to you. So far you should have seen Draven, and she explained to you what it was like to go hungry. And you should have also seen 6 vocabulary words. And then you will read along with me, and then there will be a double-sided worksheet at the end of this. So let's begin reading. On 8, When Teens Go Hungry. Draven Schoberg was one of millions of teenagers in the United States who didn't know where their next meal was coming from. Why are young people so vulnerable to hunger? When Draven Schoberg was a 7th grader, she and her younger sister had a strategy for days when they had come home hungry after school to a mostly empty refrigerator. The siblings who lived with their grandparents in Miles, Texas, would search the house, rifling through drawers and turning over couch cushions looking for quarters. For 50 cents, they could get 2 granola bars at a nearby convenience store. That small snack would usually be enough to quiet their rumbling stomachs until dinner, which was often soup, or on a good day, a casserole made of ground beef and tater tots. During dinner, Schoberg would try to ignore how her grandparents took tiny portions of food so she and her sister could have more. Although she felt guilty, she would eat, knowing that her next meal wouldn't be until lunch the following day. Schoberg qualified for the free breakfast program at her school, one of the few students there who did, but she was too embarrassed to take part. She was afraid that if the other kids realized her family couldn't afford to feed her at home, they would make fun of her. I definitely think my friends could tell that I was hungry. Schoberg, now 20, says looking back, my stomach would rumble during class, but I'd always try to laugh it off. A nationwide problem. Schoberg was just one of an estimated 7 million young people ages 10 to 17 who face food shortage or food insecurity in the United States. In a food insecure household, parents or guardians struggle to provide enough food or the right kinds of healthy food. Because of a lack of money or other resources. Experts say that while many charitable food programs exist for adults and younger children, fewer resources especially target older kids. What's more, food insecure teens are often harder to reach because many of them are reluctant to accept help. Like Schoberg, some teens are too embarrassed to admit that they're hungry and they don't want to be seen accepting free food. It's easy to line up little kids and give them a backpack filled with food, says Susan Popkin, a food insecurity researcher. But you can't really do that with teens. There are stigmas about not wanting to stand out. This is especially harmful because teens are still growing. Research shows that without adequate nutrition, teens can suffer physically and emotionally, and they can struggle to concentrate in school. An estimated 11% of United States households, about 37 million people, were food insecure in 2018. That's according to the United States Department of Agriculture. That's down from a high of about 50 million in 2009 at the height of the Great Recession, the economic decline in the United States that lasted for nearly 2 years. Although the economy has improved, many people still struggle to pay bills and buy food for their families. And as a result, 36 million Americans, including about 20 million children, get their groceries every month through the federal government's Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, known as SNAP. Some people refer to it as food stamps. In addition, tens of millions of kids receive a free or reduced priced lunch through the government-run National School Lunch Program. Many schools provide free breakfast as well. Was the case at Schoberg's school. These programs are usually only for students who qualify based on their family's need. Because of this, many eligible teens don't participate for fear their classmates will find out about their family's financial situation. Across the country, many organizations provide elementary school students with backpacks filled with food to last through the weekend, but these programs are much less common in middle and high schools. Such organizations often rely on donations. So when they do offer food to older kids, there isn't always enough to last growing teens the whole weekend, especially if those teens share the food with their families. Cheap, not healthy. At the same time, teens in food insecure households are painfully aware of their families' financial struggles. Many of them try to help by limiting how much they eat, says Popkin. Some teens will skip meals or give their food to younger siblings. Others hope to be offered dinner at a friend's house. They feel the pressure for them that their parents are under, Popkin says. They're old enough to be aware of it and they want to help. So they often go hungry along with the parents. Schoberg recalls doing everything she could to try to earn money to help her grandparents, who had been raising her and her sister since they were small children. Her grandfather, an artist, didn't make a lot of money, and her grandmother was often too sick to work. So Schoberg babysat, watched neighbors' pets, and even tried selling some of her drawings at school. She also helped her grandparents shop for groceries, typically passing over healthy but more expensive items like fruits and vegetables in favor of cheaper foods. Still, hunger was sometimes inevitable. When Schoberg didn't get enough to eat, she would often feel sick or stressed out and would stay home from school. Many food insecure teens face similar struggles. According to one study, nearly 30% of teens living in food insecure households have mental health problems such as depression or anxiety. That's compared with 9% of food secure kids. When you're a teenager, you're at a point in your life where everything is changing. But when you also have to worry about where your next meal is coming from, it's a whole other level of awful. Let's go here. Two views on poverty. Many experts say that ending the teen hunger crisis has to start with addressing its root cause, family poverty. However, there are major disagreements about how severe the poverty problem is. Advocates for the poor say that officials must increase SNAP benefits for families and improve access to better quality jobs for parents. However, in December, the Trump administration approved a new rule change that would restrict who qualifies for SNAP. The administration says that fewer people need SNAP now because the economy has improved. And the new rule will prevent people from taking advantage of the program, saving the government billions. However, critics argue that the new plan, along with two other proposed rule changes backed by the Trump administration, would result in an estimated 3.7 million people losing their benefits, including many families still struggling. No solution is possible, experts say, unless teens are encouraged to accept help. Young people need to know that hunger relief organizations exist across the country and that there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of their offerings. One way to encourage food insecure teens to take part, says Popkin, is to combine charitable food programs with activities such as basketball games or movie nights. That way the focus is more on socializing and having food and having fun and less on the food. School districts are also trying to address the teen hunger crisis. Some schools in Western Ohio, for example, run a program in which volunteers discreetly place bags of food in students' lockers every Friday. So teens who could normally go hungry over the weekend, they can eat. Other schools, including many in Michigan, California, and Texas, are taking a new approach to free school breakfast. They offer it to all students, regardless of economic status. Students can pick up their food, usually bagels or muffins, fruit, and juice, on their way to class and eat while their teachers take attendance. I know how hard it is. Life began to turn around for Schoberg when, at the age of 14, she and her sister moved in with their aunt and uncle, who eventually adopted the girls. Schoberg remained close with her grandparents, and everyone was better off financially. She no longer had to worry about having enough food and could focus on her grades. Today, she's a student at the University of Texas at Austin. But Schoberg hasn't forgotten what it's like to be food insecure. In her free time, she volunteers with hunger relief organizations such as No Kid Hungry and the Texas Hunger Initiative. Her projects have included helping to run a summer program that pairs free lunches with activities such as sports and games, and brainstorming ways to improve the quality of school meals in Austin. She also speaks to kids about the importance of eating breakfast. Through her work, Schoberg tries to instill a sense of hope in the food insecure teens she meets, and she wants to let them know that they should never be ashamed to accept help. I know how hard it is to be so focused on where your next meal is coming from, she says. It can make you feel like you're the only one who's going through something like this, but I want them to know that it's going to get better. Let's go to the top of 11, the United States hunger crisis, food insecurity by state. You see Ohio is a red state, and when you look at the graph, percentage of people who are food insecure, you see that 13.1 to 15% is the one that represents red. What that means is for every 100 people in Ohio, 13.1 to 15% of them go hungry. So for every 100, there's either 13, 14, or 15 people who are hungry. And I want to make mention here in the middle column there, we talked about the way schools are trying to help. And we live in Lorain County, and Lorain County seems to do an excellent job. And we've discussed this numerous times. Lorain, I know, offers free breakfast and free lunch. I believe Elyria does the same. And of course, I want to say all schools probably participate in the free and reduced lunch. So I think Ohio, once again, does a phenomenal job. And then let's now go to the bottom of 9 there. There's a green rectangle. It says teen hunger by the numbers. 11.2 million is the number of people under 18 who live in food insecure homes. And the percentage of teens who say they've gone to school hungry is 59%. So over half of kids in the United States have said at some point they have gone to school hungry. And so I want to leave you with this story. So you will be doing the worksheet, and it's double-sided. Please do your best, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful afternoon. Hope your lunch is yummy, and I will be reading to you again tomorrow morning. Thank you.